All right, let's do it. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Republicans, fellow Americans. You know what? I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or if you identify as an Apache helicopter. Welcome to the show, okay? Welcome out. We are here with another episode to go over a bunch of stuff. We're going to have a great conversation today. But as always, we want to welcome you guys all here. So thank you for being with us. And, you know, it's kind of funny. We have our guest here, and I'll introduce him in just a minute. But, Eric, right before we came on, guys, we were talking about names for this show, okay? Because it was always called the Republican Weekly Recap. But with as much as is going to be happening now, yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more than just a weekly show. So we were coming up with different names. We were going back and forth. And, Eric, I got to tell you, it's kind of weird to do an intro and welcome to everybody and not have a name for the show. So welcome Republicans for right now. How about that? That'll be like the running theme of this until we get one up and running.
Absolutely, good sir.
How are you, my friend?
Oh, I am very well. You know, just another work week in the books, basically getting ready to go into a good weekend. Got an event tomorrow that I'll be at representing the young Republicans at, which I'm looking forward to. You know, we're the next generation of Republican candidates and leaders and grassroots activists to change our state and country for the better.
Amen. I know. That was a heck of an introduction. I wasn't ready for all that. How's your day going? Then, bam, hits me with that. It was great. Time and temperature check. It is Friday, November 21st. Fridays are... I gotta tell you, Fridays are turning out to be one of the scariest days for me in this whole politics thing. And that's because everyone thinks that, you know, the weekend everyone is off or everyone shuts down. And that's when all the crazy, silly stuff comes in to get ready for Monday and all the crap you gotta deal with. Fridays are like the most interesting day for me now during the week with politics. What do you got going on tomorrow, Mr. Eric? And tomorrow is the 22nd. So what would you be doing? Because by the time this airs, ain't no one going to be at your event that's going to go to it because of this. But tell us what they'll be missing.
Well, tomorrow the Republican Women of Park Ridge are hosting an event at the Park Ridge Country Club, which is their red, white, and blue brunch. They were going to have Congressman Darren LaHood, but unfortunately he's stuck in D.C. with congressional matters, but they're going to have a video message from him. Then they're also going to have Christine Svensson speak, who's an attorney from Judicial Watch. And then they're also going to have Gary Franchi from the Next News Network speak, and he'll be talking about what's going on in the Trump White House since he's spent time in there already this year. So it'll be a good time all around. More than 100 people are expected there, and I'll be there with several of my fellow young Republicans.
You know, Gary Franchi is awesome. So I met him. It was a couple, I want to say a few months back now, when Stewart Rhodes first came out here, and I met him there that night. And he actually put on the Next News Network the story of the flags in Aurora. You know, we weren't lowering them and everything the mayor was doing. But I got to tell you something. You white people are killing me when you say this man's name. It's Darren LaHood. Please say it right. It's not LaHood. It's LaHood, okay? Because he's Lebanese, okay? He's got my national blood in him. So, you know, Lebanese is like Arabic and French almost. So say LaHood. Say it with me. Ready? LaHood.
LaHood.
There you go. Thank you. I just got to do my boy justice. That's all. Shout out to Darren LaHood.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, one of my fellow young Republicans is actually a part Lebanese too, so I'll have to see how she pronounces his name too. So,
which young Republican is half Lebanese? I haven't met this person yet.
You haven't met this person before, but this young Republican is actually in my North Cook area, so I'm sure
nice.
I'll meet her soon enough if you spend time in North Cook. And yeah, good fellow Catholic like me. So we're building up a chapter in North Cook.
I'm going to tell you. We're going to talk about this spending time with North Cook. I was talking about that recently with Gabriella Hoxie. You know, this idea of, you know, we're just going to get into it. You know, one of the things that I can't stand about the Republican Party that I've noticed is everyone is in their spot, and that's all, and the only thing they focus on. They're not willing, like for example, I would love to see Kane County young Republicans, forget just young Republicans, Kane County townships show up to McHenry County Townships events. McHenry to go to Cook. Cook come out to DuPage. Like, we should be all at everybody. We should have a big master calendar.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because this is how we move. One of the
Yeah,
topics
exactly.
I want. Go ahead.
Yeah, because no, what I was going to say is that during the statewide campaigns, when I worked with Gary Rabine on his gubernatorial campaign, and I worked on Kathy Selby's campaign, it became a bit of an addiction for me to go to events not only across Chicagoland but across the whole state. It felt like going on vacation working on statewide campaigns because I saw every part of the state, and I've spent time going to Lincoln Day dinners with my friend Aaron Delmar the last couple of years and seeing people from all walks of life. It really feels like we have our own country in Illinois because of how diverse it is. So I think if we all work together, go to each other's events, understand which issues are important to us and how we can work together. I think that's really the key to how we win, not just locally, but statewide as well.
Well, I think it's more. It's more than winning. It's more than just about winning, Eric. And this is, something I've discussed several times with Jaden Badillo, our vice chair in
Right.
Aurora.
Yep.
Jaden, an incredible young man, an incredible young
Oh, yeah.
Republican.
He's awesome.
He's a good dude, man. He knows how to push my buttons, like when he wants to mess with me, because he knows
He's like
how,
one of my younger brothers in the young Republicans. I
dude.
joke.
That's exactly what it is, and like he'll say the most random stuff. Here's what he does to me whenever he calls me. When I answer, before I can even say hello, he starts a sentence. It gets me every single time. Like, bro, can I say hi first? Something. But he does it just to mess with me.
Energy. Yeah.
But it's more than just winning, Eric. It really is, because there's a difference when it comes to between collaboration, like, hey, let's just get together and do an event,
Sure.
versus building a cross culture. Let me explain. So when I used to throw events, I used to throw EDM events. Our target crowd was 17 to get in, 21 to drink. Okay, typical, EDM concert style stuff.
Sure.
And the thing that was unique is like the kids that would come out from Schaumburg, and then they'd meet the kids that came from Pilsen. And then the ones that came out of Elgin met the people that came from Orland Park, and everyone's in these events together.
Right.
They're all there to see the same artists, so they're all into the artists. But if they all saw each other on the streets, they'd probably barely ever even speak to each other.
Right.
When they get together, and then they start realizing that all these people that look different, talk different, dress different, and we're all jamming to the same stuff, it starts to change the psyche. It's bigger than just winning. It's about changing the brain of people to be able to understand that you can not only be different, but when you guys come together on something and you're that passionate about it, whether it be music or whether it be politics or freedom or the concept of America and fighting to not lose what's been built, that's the difference maker, man. And that's the thing I feel like I've brought this up to a few people, and I'll say it to you. The Democrat Party does an incredible job of making sure that they have not only participation, but integration between all their chapters. Everything's one big envelope, right? The difference is they do it out of fear. It's don't say anything that we don't agree with, or we kill your career. Or might even kill you, because Democrats.
Oh yeah.
Those people are nuts. Okay.
Yeah.
With us, I almost feel like it's the exact opposite. It's almost like it's Mean. You ever seen the movie Mean Girls?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever watched it.
Oh, so it's hilarious. There's a scene in there where the new girl shows up and they're introducing everyone in the high school lunchroom. Like there's the cool kids, there's the Asians, there's the theater kids, there's the they're like going through all the groups. There's the plastics, and the plastics are like the Karens, if you will. And it's an amazing thing to me to get people together, but for them wanting to. Get what I'm saying? And you guys, I feel like you guys are slightly missing that piece. Do you mind me explaining?
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm happy to take advice on how we can do better in the Young Republicans, for sure.
Not advice. Don't let this be an advice thing. I want this. I want your honest opinion. I want you to tell me if I'm seeing it right or wrong.
Okay.
The one, if I want to compare this, so what I've noticed with the Republican Party in Illinois is there's the old guard, which is like,
Right.
I'm going to say 60 years of age plus, up to like 100 almost, right? in certain
Oh
cases.
yeah, there's a PC in Kane County I know is still active at 100. Yeah.
Dude, I have one the first time I met him, he had an oxygen tank with him. He
Oh my
he
gosh.
comes to township meetings wearing hospital bracelets. I'm like, sir, how are you? Respectfully, like, man, you've probably done a lot for the Republicans throughout your life. God bless you, but sir, it's time to let others fight. Like, how many doors are you knocking before you can't breathe? They shouldn't have to do that, but it's almost like
Right.
this group refuses to let go versus prepping the next person, which is where the
Yeah.
disconnect comes in. I think it goes to 60-year-olds plus, and then everything in the middle from 40 to 60 barely exists in any kind of functional or strategical or organizational nature. And then you guys are all amped up and ready to go, and you have no direct leadership other than the oligarchs at the top that are just trying to treat you like you're sitting at the kids' table instead of at the main
Right.
table.
Yeah,
What
especially
What
with
are
a
your
bunch of us
thoughts?
actually running for office, being committeemen and different positions throughout the state. I mean, we have young Republicans that are county chairman, even down south in one case. So, I mean, we're already getting into leadership positions, not just in the young Republicans like myself. So
Mm-hmm.
it is annoying to me when people say, oh, we got to get young people involved, just like in other organizations like the American Legion. But then they push us down sometimes as well. And I'm like, do you guys really want a future for the party and our movement here? Like, it befuddles me at times. So.
First of all, I love the word befuddle. That's awesome. It just caught me. That just threw me off guard. I'm learning new words because I've made this commitment to try to swear less. Right. So
Right.
befuddled is absolutely awesome. Here's what annoys me. Um, some of the older folks will tell me, get young people in, get them to start knocking on doors and make them PCs.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Do we want to ask them their name? Do we want to get to know them first? Do we want to invite them out to a couple of events first so they can get an idea of things as opposed to like it's almost like multi-level marketing. Grab this person, get them to sell as much as they can, and you're herding this cattle through. That's where
Right.
I think is this big disconnect, and this is where we've really succeeded quite a bit in Aurora, and I see you guys really having the potential to take off with is that when you're asking young adults, especially young adults in Illinois,
Right.
to get involved with politics, regardless of whatever party, they have to be. How do you say? I don't want to say inspired. It's just the wrong word. They got to be
Feel
motivated.
motivated, I
They
guess.
got to be
Yes, motivated.
motivated, right?
One of my favorite words.
Motivated. So, and how can they be motivated with this? Well, you can't just tell them, here, come here, take this card, this candidate walking card, read it, and go knock on doors and ask for signatures. And if people ask questions, just read off the card. You know what that's like? That's like a brand new sales agent coming into a sales room to sell insurance for me, right? And you give them a
Mhm.
script and say, just read all this about life insurance. And what happens if the customer asks a question? Just look up where the question is on the sheet and repeat the line. It's horrible. People don't enjoy
Right.
that.
Yeah, no,
You
it's
know, it's nerve wracking. So here's a question I posed to a few of you young YRs. I'm going to ask you, sir.
of course.
Eric, how do you envision getting more young people involved? I'm talking from 17, 18, 19, 20 and up,
Right.
despite the main guard of the Republican Party in Illinois still being this old-minded, old-fashioned, let's keep doing the same thing as we've been doing for 20 years without changing anything, which is the definition of insanity. How do you bridge that gap?
So for me, for example, what I do as a leader is I sort of take them under my wing as a mentor in a sense. So I've of course already been through a ringer for 4 years now. For those that don't know, having worked on statewide campaigns, being involved with local GOP organizations and campaigns, so I've seen how the old guard works and operates. So I basically tell young Republicans, hey, come and learn from those of us that are either a bit older or more experienced, and we'll basically show you the ropes. We'll show you what it's like to be around elected officials and candidates, to get to know them so that you understand their message. And if you like them enough to go and help them get elected and or stay in office, then you can do that. And we basically turn it into a mentorship. And that's how I try to do it, at least in my chapter, specifically in North Cook, and what I'm pushing for in the state. Because we have to get them to understand that it's not just simply about winning elections, it's about a whole cultural aspect as well. because that's what the left really does well, is that they bring culture into politics as well. Because I think if we can make culture like music and, heck, even dance, dancing the YMCA, for example, at events, if we do things like that to make it fun and exciting for people, then that's how we do it. Like, for example, in Palatine back in September, my North Cook Young Republican chapter partnered with State Senator Darby Hills to do a meet and greet petition event that was a happy hour, and people had fun for a couple hours. We had appetizers, a couple drinks, got to meet with Senator Hills so that people actually get to meet the elected official face to face and not just see someone that they see on a video in Springfield on occasion. You know what I mean? That way the official's right there. You get to ask them questions and have that human connection, because I think if people get to see that they're human and that they really do represent them and they're willing to hear their message, like people like Senator Hills do, even if you don't always agree with them, that really does help young people to feel like they're being listened to.
So we're talking about the ideal person that would come up to you and say, hey, how do I get involved in politics, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, hang on. We're talking, so everything you just described right there of how you would do it is based off people that would initially come to you, right? That's called a hot lead, right? That's a hot prospect,
right?
Okay?
Exactly.
How do you get a message to young adults that never even considered thinking about it or don't know anything about politics, or even worse, the ones that heard a headline somewhere while they were scrolling through TikTok and now they think they have the entirety of the party figured out? How do you get folks, young adults, that don't come up to you first? How do you reach out to them?
So how I would do it is that if I see them in the event, like say I hear them complaining on the street, for example, or at a random place, I hear them complaining about the high price of gas or groceries, etc., then I would go up to them and say, hey, my name is Eric. I'm with the Young Republicans, for example, or whatever GOP organization maybe with in the future, and say like, hey, if you're tired of this, there's a way to fix this. There's a way that we can work to get people in the office that can actually get policies into place. We can get you involved and help you be a part of the solution instead of just complaining about the problems.
Man, listen, I don't even know what the problems are. Like, what do you mean get me involved? What do I got to do? What are you trying to get me to sign up for?
Okay, so for example, you're tired of paying $3 for a gallon of gas and you want to pay $2.
It's ridiculous. I used to hear stories that gas was $1 a long time ago.
Oh yeah, my grandmother says it was 25 cents when she came here from.
So what am I supposed? Who am I? What are you talking about, guy?
Okay, so when you pay less for gas, that means you have more money for everything else. Like, take your girlfriend if you have one to the movies, go out for dinner, like that. Pay for streaming service. That's all a trickle down effect.
Okay.
So when we look at other issues like taxes and regulations on businesses, so if a business is overregulated, you take the regulations away. That means that they'll be able to afford to pay you more, so you have more money in your pocket aside from the government lowering taxes. That's
all right, great. How am I supposed to do all this stuff? I'm sitting here pumping gas. You're telling me there's a way I can help. What are you talking about?
So, hey, if you got some free time on the weekend, we're going to have this meeting coming up where you'll get to meet some local officials and candidates to hear about how they're working to change your life for the better. Come and learn about them, get involved in the culture, see what's going on. And if you like the message of a particular candidate, then come and get involved. No cost to you, and that way you can be a part of the solution and not just simply complain about the problem.
For those of you,
like what I like to say, stop whining and start doing. You know?
For those of you watching this, Eric had no idea that I just went into sales trainer mode on him and started doing role play. Close me, sell me this pen. Sell me this pen. Come on, you can't even see the pen. Sell me this Jack Cunningham pen. No, that was good.
I love the improvisation, actually.
For sure.
You got to be ready to go on the fly all the time for stuff.
I was this close to doing that to Miss Hoxie because we were going down the subject, and I was about to flip it on her, but then she said something else. I'm like, oh, that's another great point that we went on that one. So when I get her for round 2, I'll do that surprisingly to her. That was good, man. So and that's what I'm talking about. Like, the old GOP doesn't care about being relational or missional. The old guard of the GOP, and this is what I like to tell people, because there's a lot of folks, especially in Aurora, you know how diverse it is. People coming up to me saying things like, "Hey, dude, you're brown, you're from the Middle East. Why are you a Republican?" There are a bunch of Republicans are just a bunch of old white people racists, and I'm sitting there like, Well, kind of. But that's the old group that we're not talking about anymore.
Right.
Right? Like, I understand why you're saying that. It's never been the case, by the way. There has always been that, should we say, I hate to say it since you brought it up earlier, the country club mentality. The ivory tower mentality of Republicans.
Yes.
Okay? That's been there. And trust me, you were around for the whole Aurora GOP takeover that Jaden and I
was there for a couple of those meetings. Yes,
so
very exciting meetings.
You've seen some of those characters still around that we had to defeat. Now you got an Arab guy, a Mexican kid, and a Korean woman. It's great. That are in charge of the organization. Some of them are like, oh my God.
The Democrats must be losing their mind even more than the Republicans because they're like, how do we counter this?
Right. That's the funny part. Like the Dems are like, okay, what are we supposed to say to this guy? He's a Middle Eastern son of immigrants. Like, you're not coming at me. Good luck calling me a racist, dog. It just doesn't work. Yeah. White supremacist. Nope, I'm browner than you. So, and that but just to go back to that part,
right.
Being relational and missional is how we succeeded in Aurora and is how we're building our name and credibility. Right. And that's what's missing. Like, you know how, like, young adults, and you get them involved and you say things like, hey, come out to this event. Or, hey, we're doing this. Or, dude, give me your number. Shoot your text. What's your Instagram? What's your Snapchat? Whatever the heck you kids talk on these days. I heard something about bumbling. Is a Bumble a thing?
Oh, that's a dating app.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
Don't ask me how I know that.
Maybe don't go bumbling. Is it bumbling? Is that what it's like? Tweeting or Xing? Bumble. My bad. Bumble.
Yes.
Okay. My bad. There's a different approach, and I think the reason, like, you guys, I feel like you guys didn't have this group, for the 40 to 60 group of mentorship and leadership, whose sole purpose was to replicate, to get the next group fully ready.
Right. I mean, the young Republicans existed, but we didn't exist like we do before because it's just a handful of local county chapters. But now we have, even though we're a federation where it's not top down, it's bottom up, we still do have a state federation where we work to keep young people across the state interconnected with each other.
Right.
And no offense to those in the state party leadership, I like to brag and think we do a better job than the state party does at times, because I talk to people across the state every week, and down in Madison County by St. Louis, or out west in our Fort Gautonia chapter, like in Fulton County, make sure to see how they're doing with their candidates and what they're doing events wise. Like they got a bowling event coming up next week, and down in a couple of weeks from now, we'll be down in Bloomington Normal to support a YR.
We have a bowling event coming up.
Oh, really?
December 7th. Yes.
I'll have to see if I have room in my calendar. We'll be in touch.
Definitely. It's the Kane County second annual one.
Nice.
That's the difference maker, man. Like, this can't be about, I only care about votes and money. You can have that old mentality and you're still going to get a few thousand votes. Good for you. But this next wave, especially this next group, like, there are so many immigrants that are diehard Republicans right now. You want to know? And we were all Democrats. Dude, I grew up an immigrant kid, okay? The son of Middle Eastern immigrants. We were as Democrat as they come. They vote. Everything was always voted Democrat. Okay, and then you start catching on to things. You're like, you guys are doing nothing for immigrant people other than using us as a voting base. That's it. Then initial Trump comes around, and you're like, okay, these are exactly the things that we're all thinking. Like, all these problems that, and it's not all Democrats, dude. It's the Democrat Socialists of America. All this mentality, this socialist mentality, this Marxist mentality they're bringing in, this is all the stuff that as immigrants, our families ran away from. We came here because of the promise that we wouldn't have to deal with any of that crap.
Yeah, my family ran away from it in Europe, so I know exactly where it.
Right. So it's, we have to have these relationships. So this is what I'm excited about. What I'm excited about, bro, is guys like you, guys like Evan Castle. Guys like Richard, young folks like Jaden, because in about 3-4 years, when he's in mid-20s, Jesus, he won't even be in mid-20s in 3-4 years.
He'll only be in early 20s.
Yeah, no kidding. God, that's so weird.
Yeah, and he was our youngest delegate to the National Young Republican Convention from any state. That was a
The
pretty cool
youngest
statistic.
ever elected vice chairman of a GOP organization, sir.
And acting chair, too, for a little
And
while,
acting
too.
chair in the history of the party.
Yeah.
Like, that's the talent that we got in Aurora.
Right. Yeah, with his energy and mindset and creativity, like, we need to, bolster that so much. And,
But what we need to do more than anything, tell me if I'm wrong, we
okay.
need to actually start not managing the new YRs coming in. We need to start developing leadership
I agree,
development, logical thinking and thought. Sure, policy, all the stuff that you have to do there. But there's that old phrase. There's a difference between book smart and street smart.
Yes.
Okay, you need both.
Absolutely.
But if
Yeah.
you're
Like
just book smart,
yin and yang in a sense similar to that. Right. They balance each other out.
but here you could be street smart and make it without
Yep.
being book smart. But you can't be book smart and make it without being street smart because this guy will swallow this one up.
Yeah, you definitely need some street smarts for sure with whatever you're doing in life, honestly, even outside the political arena like we're in.
100%. 100%. That's what we need to start developing and teaching in the youth. Because no offense, I made this joke with Gabriella. I'm so thankful she was born in 2000 because she understood the reference. My generation, my specific group. So I'm 43, right? And you're 26, right?
28.
28. Okay. So I'm 43. So my range from 40 to 60, we were the last group to drink from the water hose.
Mm-hmm.
We were the last group before and after internet. And then your age range is from internet to social media.
Right.
So you guys grew up on internet into social media. We grew up with no internet, barely cable, like enough cable, but no internet to social media. So those pieces, all those things, like we have to share those stories. We have to build those. We have to use those things to help shape the new group. The problem for you guys is you're hearing it from people that are 72 years old.
Yeah. People who are born closer to World War II than today.
Right. You're not going to tell me.
Different eras. And as a history nerd, someone who went to school for history, I always try to bring perspective into it. And as someone who is an old soul to help try to bridge the gap between the youth and the older and more experienced folks, as I like to say. But yeah, we can all do a better job on that for sure.
There's this age range group that's just missing. That was missing from you guys, I believe. And it's not from you guys. I think this is the flaw of the Republican Party. Everybody got so comfortable, so complacent, especially in the suburbs, thinking, it's fine, everything's fine, we're always going to keep winning. Until, like Chicago, Cook County is the case study, man. What happens there is going to happen with us within the next 4 years.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. So now that it all came out here, now the Republican Party's freaking out. They're scrambling for candidates. Well, for the last 15, 20 years, y'all ignored the grassroots and developing new people.
Right.
So that's what I've noticed. I've only been in this, I'm in my 7th month now, 8th month in politics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you pick up on it pretty fast. And I mean, to me, it's almost same old since
it's the same stuff.
2021 when I was a volunteer on Rabine, because we were seeing these problems coming up at the time. And, of course, I was coming out of COVID and we were seeing the stuff in the Chicago Democrat mindset and from Springfield was affecting the whole state. So you would think more people wake up by now. But unfortunately, people aren't realizing and they're still kind of asleep at the wheel with the old guard like we're talking about here. It's
know why, bro? Let's look at the voting ages of the Republican Party. I'll tell you right now, in Aurora, the voting ages of the Republicans, I think the average starting range is 56, 57.
Oh, that's not surprising.
You know what I mean? That's a problem.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, we ignored 2 whole generations.
Yeah.
We let them get bullied around. They didn't have any leadership. They didn't have any voices speaking up. Like, there's a reason why I have death threats, bro. Because I'm scaring the hell out of people.
Right. As I like to say, man, you're over to target if you're catching flack like that. I remind people of that all the time when they're getting hate or whatever else. I'm just like, hey, sometimes
Bring it on.
happens. Yeah.
I love that. I love when they throw stuff at me like from my past and try to like use it against me. Like someone posts a mugshot of me. Like, bro, I posted that picture 3 weeks ago. You got it off my Facebook. Like, what are you doing?
Just another day ending in Y, you know?
For real. Like you're gonna question me. Listen, I'll tell you everything you want to know. I spent 26 years in nightclubs and in the entertainment world. You know, that's I was no angel, shall we say. This is all new. Okay.
Well, as they like to say, if men were angels, then government wouldn't be necessary. You know,
If
that's
men were angels, government wouldn't be necessary. Hang on.
Yep.
I'm writing that one down.
That's how we all know that we're imperfect beings, you know, trying to be better people.
I like that. I had to write that one down. Every time I interview someone, one of those lines pop out, and I got to write that down. That was nice. So tell me, man, how long you been involved now in politics?
Since the spring of 2021, when I enlisted as a volunteer with Gary Rabine's gubernatorial campaign, he was the, I believe, second or third candidate to announce at that time in the.
So 2021, that was 4 years ago.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Your mid-20s. What was the triggering thing? Because here's what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people ask, Danny, you had a very successful life insurance business going. You were chilling. We were off the radar, nothing. Then you come out like a bat out of hell, create nothing but chaos and hell in your world, right? Like, why would you deliberately want to do that? And I tell them that there was just a moment where, and for me, enough was enough. I got activated, and I said, enough. I'm getting in to smack people around. Hypothetically, Democrats, they're going to take that.
Right. Yeah, boy, smack people around.
Danny said he loves ICE and he wants to smack immigrants. That's not what I said. These people. But what got you...
I love to take what we say out of context.
Right? What got you to get involved?
So for me, it was a mixture of the craziness from COVID, which to me, I was just like, seriously, you know, this is beyond authoritarian, unconstitutional, because for those that don't know, I spent some time in the Marine Corps, swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution. And for me, I just try to look for ways to uphold the oath, and I felt like I didn't really have an outlet for that before 2021. So I feel like my involvement for that is a way for me to uphold my oath to protect and defend the Constitution. And that's why when candidates like thank me for my help, or even elected officials or whatnot, I sometimes say, thank you for giving me an ability to uphold my oath by helping freedom-loving candidates and candidates that support the Constitution, no matter what level of government they're running for, whether it's Gabriella Hoxie for county board or a candidate for Congress like Jennifer Davis. You know, they all help me in that role. So it's a win-win for me, honestly.
Just side note, just because you brought her up, Jennifer Davis is a beast.
Oh, she is.
She's a beast, bro.
Yeah.
No,
her energy and her passion is just beyond words.
You know what it is? I got to be real with you. You know, I get to say this because I'm a brown guy. I get weary of certain white people. And what I mean by that is, there's a certain element that when you're very well off and successful and you've raised a good family, everything else, my curiosity is your passion genuine, or is it coming out of just going with the motions? This woman, between her children, as incredible as they've been raised and grown up, and I know she's taken in other children, and the work that she's done back in her community, this is a person who financially well off, can live their life, never be bothered, never have to, doesn't matter what's the tax rate, 95%, they'd be just fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
To see her put herself not only in the line of fire, but to do it with the amount of grace that she does and the legitimate servant leadership mindset.
Yeah.
It's breathtaking, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get to say that about a lot of candidates. And she's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
She really is. And if anyone ever doubts her, give her a hug. And tell me if you don't feel like...
her in person in general. You can get that personality, that feeling off of her. You can tell that it's genuine. Yeah.
Well, that's why I like to do these long conversations. We can take, we make snippets and we use all that AI stuff to make the 30 seconds and 60-second little hot clips. But this is also why I never tell you guys as guests what we're going to talk about. I want the conversation to go wherever it's going to go, and I want people to see how you formulate a thought. You just got hit with a question. How are you formulating your response? What are your characteristics that come out? People need to see these things. That's how they decide, man. And we forget that. We forget people. That's what I like about Jennifer, because she thinks she keeps this as a consideration. We forget that people sometimes just want someone that they can connect to that would give them a voice. People just want to be heard.
Yeah, someone who's genuine, someone deep down's in it for the right reasons. Like, I won't just help any old candidate, for example, that I'll volunteer for or work for. I will genuinely be like, okay, you have these values. You're what I call a populist, someone who's in it for the people, anti-establishment, someone who's going to shake the boat a bit in a sense, do things differently. That's what I'm all about. And that's why I find annoying sometimes when someone will give a political speech, it'll just be like, oh, rah, rah for lower tax cuts or rah, rah for law enforcement. It's just so cookie cutter. That's why I try to spice my speeches up with some historical analogies or some fighting spirit in there that's more unique and just give it a bit of a different flavor, like putting a different spice on your favorite dish, No,
I'm with that.
Yeah.
You just triggered some. You said different spice on the same dish, and you just triggered some stuff inside my brain. The Greeks, they love to do something a touch different that they steal from the Lebanese and call it their own invention for food. And I don't know why that literally it triggered in my head. All I heard was a Greek guy in my head telling me to get Windex. Because you're right, okay, people do, it's good to throw in different things, and I can't stand the rah-rah, hoo-ha speeches that are all the same. Do you ever watch Family Guy?
Oh, yeah, I've watched some episodes before.
There's a great episode where Lois was running for, I think she was running for mayor or school board president or something.
Yep.
And her campaign advisor told her, just go up there and say these key phrases when you get a question and you can't answer it. And I think the question was like, so Lois, how are you going to, help make the students better? And she goes, 9, 11. And everyone starts cheering. Like, just say the buzzwords to get people to cheer. I can't stand that crap. I can't stand it.
And because worst of all, Danny, it feels inauthentic. Just like we were talking about before, where people want real and genuine conversations and people running for office to represent them, whether it's in the county, the state, or federal level, that's what's missing. And I feel like if people really tried to get different wording in there, go back and see what worked for different leaders in history, like I like to do, then that's what you got to do sometimes in order to make sure that you can get people genuinely behind you in a way that's authentic and really just a breath of fresh air, honestly. Breath of fresh air.
It's funny. It's funny how, how you ever have that moment where you start talking to somebody, you've been around somebody, you've seen them around your group, your friend group, or maybe at like events consistently, and you see them at a distance, and you just assume something. Then you start talking to them, and you're like, they start blowing you away, like they were nothing like you thought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nobody, for those of you watching this, nobody is ever going to be who you think they are if you don't give them a chance to show you who they are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I've had a bunch of young Republicans the last number of months when I meet them at an event. They're thrilled to be around like-minded people, of course, whether it's in Chicago with their growing organization or in North Cook with mine and Gabriella's new chapter. They'll come to an event like the event that Senator Hills had for us at Petition Happy Hour in September. And before I know it, in a matter of weeks, they're walking doors with Gabriella and I to get people like her petition signatures are now already walking doors for candidates as we get ready to go into the primary season and get them all trained up now during the colder months. It's beautiful to see that in such a short period of time. And a lot of them are women too. A lot of the guys sometimes aren't as motivated to get involved as the women, which to me, as a guy, I would feel emasculated personally.
Do you want to know why that is? There's a reason for that. There's an actual reason for it. So men would be more likely to be the candidate because they're willing to ride into battle and to fight and to take that position of power and leadership, right? The reason why females are usually much better at being ready to jump in and help and be more energetic, even to do the stuff like at the very first level, as far as knocking doors, stuffing envelope flyers and all that stuff.
Right.
Women have a nurturing nature.
Oh yeah, they do.
Okay, they are nurturers, and they are relationship builders. That's what.
Right.
That's just, and I'm talking. I'm very general, big in
Oh yeah, of
generalities here, right?
course.
Because the one thing we forget is at the end of the day, we are a animal species.
Yeah.
We are. We just have consciousness and thought. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's what we have to look at, our basic core. And
Yeah.
because you said men get emasculated by that, they shouldn't. And I tell you why. If we bring back toxic masculinity, they wouldn't have a problem with it. And I tell you why. Because real men are going to look at that and they understand, okay, they're putting in the work, they're getting all this done.
Yeah.
Look at a family barbecue. The wife preps the food, goes, shops and gets it, does everything, etc. Then the guy comes out, turns on the grill, slaps the meat, and he feels like he's accomplished, like he did it all.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But for me, it's when I think about it, I do understand what you're saying. I do agree in a sense. But to me, it's like the men, it's the protector and defender. Like as we say, protect and defend the Constitution. When I
Yes.
swore that oath when I joined the Marines, and to me, part of that does
Good
come
point.
with actually going out there to put in the work, in a sense
Good
of
point.
doing that.
No, very
What
good
you have
point.
to do to get elected. And to me, I just find it interesting where men will act all tough and ready to go take the fight to the enemy in a sense, in the military sense. But then when it actually comes to doing it, they're nowhere to be found. They're just at the happy hours and events hitting on the cute, beautiful women there. I mean, they're just there for that kind of stuff. And then they don't show up to actually help
let's
make the
address
actual
that.
change happen.
And let's address that because,
Yeah.
dude, you're spot on. Okay?
Yeah.
I can't stand selfie people that just show up to an
Yeah.
event, take a couple pictures. I used to teach at that jail, right? DuPage County Jail. Okay.
Yeah.
And anytime people would come in on the tours, you could always tell the ones that were there just to be able to take the selfies.
Right.
Got to see some inmates today. Oh my OMG. And then they post it on their social media, they're on to the next day. Okay?
Yeah.
The thing is with men, yes, we are the get up, ready to go to battle, but yeah, you need to stand the hell up and remember that we are also the protectors.
Yes.
And we have to get these things done. We have to provide. We have to fight. That's our role.
Yes.
Now, the nice thing about the whole young conservative men movement is, yes, a lot of them are starting to come up and they're starting to get activated and move forward. And in certain places in the country where they got on top of this 10 years ago that was really heavy, like, for example, Turning Point presence, they're way ahead of us. Here, we haven't had that. But we do.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to mirror in the young Republicans too. Not just getting elected part, like our motto says, of recruit trying to elect for the young Republicans, but actually trying to get culture in there, having music at our events, trying to bring up some historical inspiration from key American figures to look up to, like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. Like I said in my speech at the kickoff for my North Cook chapters event back in June in Schaumburg, and I think a lot of people are looking for that sort of like figure or like that height to climb, that mountain that you can say to you did that. You did something that
I agree with you. I agree with you, but if I'm an 18-year-old kid, I'm sorry. Why am I got to look at George Washington? Maybe.
Well, I just use him as an example personally.
A little closer. Maybe someone a little closer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Of course, there are certainly people that are closer, whether it's from the World War II generation or even more recent. But my point is that sometimes you need to give people purpose in life because
for sure.
One of my favorite quotes is from this show called The Last Kingdom about the Vikings and the Saxons battling for control of England during the Viking era. And this warrior named Uhtred is talking with King Alfred of England, and then he's like, Uhtred, what do you want? Basically, forgot the exact quote, but Uhtred just simply says, purpose, Lord. And it's like, it's such a simple statement, but yet powerful, because what are we in life, Danny, if we don't actually have purpose behind what we're doing? Because otherwise we're just closer to those animals that go about waiting to be hunted or go and do the hunting to eat and survive from one day to the next. We need something that makes life worth living. So we make sure that God didn't create us for nothing, as the Christian in me believes.
I got to tell you, young man, that was like the definitive perfection of an answer. I don't stumble much on my words. I like to talk a lot, but that was good. Okay, and I'll be real with you. For what I like about you, dude, you and Jaden, Richard, Evan, Gabriella. There's quite a few others of you as well.
No,
you guys put that into action.
Yes.
Okay, it's one thing to talk; it's another thing to get it done. Right.
Absolutely.
And this is what I've told people. Like, people have asked me, why the hell would you go after a Republican? Well, why would I why would I question the Republicans' integrity? I'm in the Republican Party. Because you think, if as hard as I go after Democrat socialists, you don't think I'm going to go after my own 10 times harder? I hold them to a higher standard.
Yes, we have to.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like what as they say as a leader in the young Republicans, especially since I became the National Committeeman and chairman of my own chapter, Danny, here in North Cook with Gabrielle as my vice chair. Mm-hmm. I not only put my people first as a leader, that's my most prized possession as a leader, is my people more than anything, and always have unwavering determination and courage and all that for them. But at the same time, I work to hold my own people to a higher standard, and most importantly to myself, because how can I expect my people, my chapter, to do what I want them to do, like walk doors, help candidates, do whatever else in politics, if I'm not willing to do that myself, or let alone haven't done it before? You know what I mean? Because that's like the general sitting comfortably in the command center, miles behind the front line, and ordering his troops to go forward, not like an Alexander the Great or George Washington like that. Like, that's why Alexander the Great is silver-beard, honestly, because he rode his companion cavalry into battle with him, almost killing Darius on the field of Gaugamela. You know what I mean? That's the balls back then for a guy that was younger than me at the time, and fascinating history there. You got to read up on it sometime.
No. You are. I mean, you're right on the money there, and it's, what I would like to see. Okay, what I would really like to see is things get a little bit more, not necessarily relatable to the younger generation. And I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about the state GOP.
Right.
Okay. And some folks are catching on to this, but we have to make things not only more relatable, but more reachable and more realistic, especially for young adults. Okay? It's like, we are such a reactive organization. There's no proactive thought. So instead of waiting for a young adult to come to us and say, hey, how do I get involved? Excuse my language. Get off your old asses and go out there and recruit them, or empower these young men and women to do it for us.
Yes.
And since y'all are too old and believe that the internet's not real, don't worry. There's a new batch of us here in the middle that will help guide them. So get out of our way. That's for all of them.
Absolutely.
To your point, it's, how can you expect someone to do something that you don't do? I used to say this when we had our nightclubs and bars. Mm. Whether I got to the point where I was either an owner or a manager or a VIP guy or whatever, I would grab a mop and bucket if need be, or I would grab ice and bring it to the bar, or I'd act like a barback or a server if I had to. And, I would literally have people ask, why are you doing that? Isn't that the busboy's job? Isn't that the server's job? Well, yeah. But if I'm not willing to pick up a mop, or I'm not willing to go clean the toilets, I got to look another adult in the face and say, hey, go clean up that poop?
Right.
How do you expect that to happen?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like in the Marine Corps. They say every man a rifleman, and that was the same side of mentality. Like during the Korean War, when so many communist soldiers were overrunning the front lines, cooks and priests had to grab rifles and get into the front line because that's what you had to do. You know what I mean? Because in war, ultimately, just like I say in politics, since war and politics are similar in some ways, you're ultimately fighting for the brother and sister next to you at the end of the day. That's why I always do my best to check on my fellow young Republicans as much as possible, because if we're not all keeping each other strong, then it's just going to fall apart at the end of the day.
Keeping that connection strong goes back to being two words: relational and missional.
Absolutely.
This comment, this phrase that we came up with, break bread, go red. Myself and Dr. Renneria came up with that when he helped me get involved in Aurora.
Yeah.
And it makes all the sense in the world because think about this. I've had some really uncomfortable conversations with people. Some that, had potential to be violent, some that had potential to be legal, ridiculous lawsuits and dumb stuff, right?
Right.
Anytime you take a volatile situation and you sit down and eat and break bread while you're trying to resolve it, the likelihood, and I'm talking like 70, 80% likelihood increase of it ending so much better.
Because I think that's because people are naturally happier when they're sitting down having a decent meal. You know what I mean? I think that's certainly a factor of it. They're more calm, relaxed. They're more willing to get more personal and see you at eye-to-eye level so that you're not like clashing swords, you're clashing pens in that sense, as I say. It's, that's perfect.
100%. Like, when you're having a conversation with someone, man, especially if you're, when you're trying to connect, I use this all the time. And I've talked about this. There's been candidates that have actually started to adopt it and use it. It's called FORM. FORM. Okay? I'm not sure if you've ever heard me discuss this before. But when you meet somebody...
Maybe in passing.
Maybe at some point. When you meet someone, like when we start talking, there's proper form you got to follow. F, family. O, occupation. R, recreation. And then M is me. So if I'm talking to you, you got to get 3 letters of the other person first. You find out about them, their family, what do they do for a living, how many kids they got, etc. What do you guys like? What do you guys do for fun? You guys take family trips? Are you single? All right, cool. What do you do in your free time? Stuff like that. There's a lot of ways to guide that. Long before you ever start telling them about yourself.
Yes.
Okay? People naturally love to talk about themselves.
Oh, yeah.
They love to.
Of that all the time. I'll admit to it, yes.
They love to, okay? But humans are also naturally intimidated with new conversations. And I'll prove it to you. Anytime you've ever gone to like an electronics store, like Best Buy or wherever, any store you've gone to, you've gotten in your car, you've driven there with the purpose of purchasing something. Not necessarily sure what exactly one you were going to get, but you were going to buy something. You walk in and you're looking at a wall of TVs. You have no idea which one you want to buy. Someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, sir, anything I can help you with?" First thing you do, what do you say? "No, I'm good."
Yeah, exactly.
Just looking. Please stay away, other person. I'm freaking out, right?
Yes.
But then, eventually, you'll muster the courage to say, "Excuse me, can someone help?" They say, "What are you looking for?" And then, bam, you start rattling things off. "Well, I need a TV for this because my wife watches this then," and you start talking way too much. Just tell me how big of a TV you want. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, it reminds me of the first time I met Gary Rabine. I went to a meet and greet from him in April 2021 down in Homer Glen. And I remember it so well because of the fact that I didn't know anyone there personally. It's the first time I met any of those people in person. But I left there feeling like I was among friends. Headed up with the guy who offered me a ride home since I was on his way home back to McHenry County. And I was like, "Oh, can I give you money for gas?" Tried to give him a 20. He's like, "No, just put up this yard sign once the election gets closer." Gave me my first Rabine sign. Still have it in my room upstairs. But no, that's how you build those connections with people. I met other people my age that were interested in helping the campaign, like-minded conservatives there. And it just goes from there. It's honestly, that's why the saying, the first step is often the most difficult one with what you do in life is so true. So many things in politics have felt easier since that first campaign with Rabine and the first time I met him, because it just feels like it comes natural. You know what I mean?
100%. And that's the thing. People also aren't used to that. Society does not train people to say, it's possible for you to walk into a room, a stranger, and leave amongst friends.
Yes.
Doesn't train you to that. Society, schools, that's a whole other 2-hour conversation. But it's really wild because all it takes is a conversation. I got this woman message me in Spanish recently on Facebook. Because the Democrats edited that video of me and said that I said to shoot people or whatever. She sent me something completely in Spanish. So I went to ChatGPT, I said translate. And I read it and I was like, oh wow, that's rude. So I respond back, and I have Chat GPT translate it into Spanish for me. Mm-hmm. And we've been going back and forth now for almost a week. She's damn near almost my aunt now.
Oh my gosh.
It's hilarious.
That's amazing.
It's hilarious. Because it's just conversation. This woman was messaging me, racista puta madre, like, oh my God. Like, she was saying some crazy stuff.
Yep.
But just by responding, and Charlie was great at this, and I'm not nowhere near it because I love to fight. But, being able to respond back and just have a conversation, now all of a sudden, this woman is talking to me normally. We're having actual conversations. She brought up actually a really good point about something she ran away from in Mexico, about how the government was getting controlled by the cartels years ago. And we connected that's what was happening with the Islamification in the Middle East. Now all of a sudden we're talking. I thought I was a racist piece of crap a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, now you find you have so much in common that the differences feel like they're a moot point at that point, and it's something that's just, it has to come natural at that point where it almost feels like it's God-given opportunity for you.
So I got a challenge for you, Mr. Chairman.
What might that be, Chairman Souri?
Yeah, right. Chairman, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Back scratcher? Back scratcher. Sorry. All right. As the head of the Illinois Federation of Young Republicans, and North Coke Wire.
As the National Committeeman. Chairman Castle's our head.
National Committeeman.
One of his generals.
As the chairman of the North Coke YRs. Did I get that part right?
Yes. Yes.
Chairman of the North Cook YRs, Illinois Federation of Young Republicans Committeeman.
Yes.
I would challenge you that you should have every single member of your organization do 2 exercises. One, it's kind of close. I mean, we're very close. By the time we record this, we're really close to Thanksgiving, so that's probably not going to cut it.
Sure.
But for Christmas time, because I don't say holiday, I say Christmas because Jesus is king.
Amen to that.
Amen. I would like to see every YR get 2 friends that are not YRs to join, whether it be a national holiday call, like a national holiday Zoom call thing, a Christmas Zoom call. Just a quick 1 hour call, a couple people at the top, a couple messages to send out, a couple fun things. Maybe we do a Cahoots game, a Cahoots holiday, trivia game, Christmas trivia game, something along those lines. Or maybe we do a Christmas party. We have time to do this. A simple, I'm talking North Cook, Kane County, regular Cook County YR, DuPage YRs. We all get together for an event. Hour, 2 hour, like hour and a half, 2 hour little quick meet and greet. Hello. It doesn't need to be a Secret Santa, none of that silly stuff.
Yeah.
I want to challenge you to put together an event where all of the YRs come together, and I'll help organize with you guys. I got a career doing this stuff.
Right.
And every single YR has to bring in 2 non-YRs. Not to recruit them, but for the purpose of just exposing us to them. Exposing them to us.
Right.
How would you feel about something like that? You want to put something like that together?
I would love that. That almost kind of mirrors what I did naturally with going to Ravine's meet and greet back in April 2021.
That's kind of why I just said it. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's why I'm on board, because you never know how much interest they're going to have in getting involved from there. Once they see, oh my gosh, there are people that think like me. They might have a similar job to me. They might be a similar denomination of Christianity or another faith as me. There's so many endless possibilities there. I mean, the young people I've met, like similar conservative Catholic as me or similar history nerd, they use similar wording for me. I mean, so many people I've met now where I'll just casually hit them up, like, say, what are you doing tonight? And then they'll invite me over to their house and we'll go out for drinks after helping candidates for the day.
Sure.
Like, the amount of, like, random meetups I've done with people that weren't planned the day beforehand, I've lost track of since I joined the board of the Illinois Young Republicans in March. And it's really a sense of
You're
camaraderie
right on the
that
money.
I'm missing from the military. I think that's what young people need these days, a sense of community, especially since coming out of COVID.
You know what I love? What I loved about throwing raves and like EDM underground style events, bro. You know, I'm talking to kids that would wear all the, the candy bracelets and pacifiers and glow sticks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, peace, love, unity, and respect. Plur.
Yeah.
Those events. I had this kid. His name was Jake Hartweg. I'll never forget this kid. This kid, he was a boy, and this is before the whole tranny thing came about. Is so popular. He would wear, cat ears and all that anime weird stuff and the bracelets all up and down his arm. But this kid would come to every event, and he would be like, he'd be afraid to talk to people. He would just stand off to the side and spin his glow sticks. And I went up to him one day. I'm like, hey, man, I see you at all my events. Who are you here with? I see he always showed up, always bought a ticket. I grabbed him by his hand. I brought him up on stage. And I got on the mic in front of a $5,000 an hour DJ. That DJ, I'd never forget him. He sucked so bad, but he had name recognition. I got on the mic. I'm like, hey, guys, this is Jake. He didn't come here with anybody. Who wants to hang out with him? And the room erupted, and they yanked him out, and he's getting pulled from this group to that group, and it made that kid's freaking life. Yeah. I kid you not, for the next 2-3 years, he would show up with squads to our events. That's what we need in the Republican Party. We need to be a little bit more like ravers.
Yeah, we need to be more personable. We need to send people personal invites. And that was what one suggestion someone had from the Texas Young Republicans when they did a digital club development meeting on Zoom in October. And then and actually before that, I already started sending like personal invites from the North Cook Young Republican social media, like to the event that Jennifer Davis hosted for the Young Republicans. A young woman was referred to us by a friend of mine in Lake County. She didn't know anyone from the YRs before, just came back from college to Illinois. And I said, hi, I've heard that you got referred to us. Would you like to come to this event in Kane County? A bunch of us will be there. I'd love for you to be there and meet other people. And sure enough, she showed up. I met her, introduced her to Gabriella, my vice chair. He could have helped for a man and a woman to meet the person, no matter their sexuality, their sex, man or woman. And then sure enough, now that young woman joined Gabriella and I had 1 or 2 events after that and just came out naturally supported us. And that's what I love, just building that human connection personally, making them feel like they're actually going to be there with real people and that they won't feel alone somewhere. I think that's really powerful and key, and it starts a snowballing effect, just like it was with me from Rabine when I was like to joke that I was just a rank and file volunteer on that campaign turned staff member as the primary heated up. And now, this happened where I am now as a leader of the Young Republicans, getting randomly hit up by people asking for help. And, I not say that not to gloat necessarily, but I say, hey, this is what happens when you put in the time and effort. People begin to notice you. It's like, for example, I was at the kickoff for Rabine and Delmar. I was standing there with Gabriella and one of my other mentors in politics besides Delmar. And then all of a sudden, this one person came up to me and said, hey, you look familiar. Are you so-and-so? And I was like, yes, I am. And wow, you've heard of me before. He's like, yeah, people mention your name. I just walked away like, wow, people know me. I have no clue who they are. And then my mentor said, see, this is what happens when you do things. People notice you.
Listen, I got to tell you, Jaden feels you on that. Jaden went recently to a gentleman's house, a very well-known former mayor of our town. And he went with Jack Pye as Jack Pye's guest. The guy didn't have any idea Jaden was coming. And when the guy opened his door, he looked at Jaden and he goes, I've seen you on the internet. And Jaden was like, dude, that was so cool. I'm like, yeah. We got up to almost 2 million views. We're at almost 2 million viewers a month right now, bro.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is wild when people like come out from the woodwork and they're like, hey, I saw you here, or hey, I know you from that. It's intense. Which is really one of the main reasons why I started to stop swearing so much, is because now the audience is so big. I have a responsibility to serve that audience now. I invited that to my life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
like most of my swearing now is when I'm driving by myself. I'm making up swear words when I'm
Yeah,
driving.
I'll get them out. Like, I'll get them out. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We just won't do it
Yeah, I
publicly.
know. But like even me as a leader in the YRs and being around candidates, elected officials, whether I work for them or not, it's like even I have to put a filter on all the time, even though I love to be authentic and uncensored as much as possible. So it's
I'm still uncensored. I'm just not swearing. So
yeah, it's definitely that kind of censored for sure.
all right, man. Listen, before we wrap up,
Yes.
there's two ways that I like to end this. I'm going to do this with all my guests. What is a simple, straight to the point message that you want to send? That if this was the last clip, if we were going to take the last 1 minute clip and put this online, and this is the moment that was going to go viral. What is the message that you want to send out there to not only the GOP, to the citizens, but to anyone watching this? Go.
So my message is this. We see great people throughout history doing great things, conquering new lands like Alexander the Great, starting nations like George Washington from basically nothing. But at the end of the day, it's us who have the will at the end of the day to do something. Because at the end of the day, also, we have to make sure that we do not break, but we rather bend. We bend to make sure that we can bounce back from challenges and live the fight another day. Make sure that we can have crushing wins. Because make sure that whatever you do in life echoes through eternity. Never quit, never give up. Just as my drill instructor told me during Black Friday, the first Friday in boot camp when I met my drill instructors, make sure you put 100% effort into whatever you do with strength and determination and strength and honor all the way. That's what we have to do to win for our beloved Illinois, our beloved American Republic, and God is with us.
Amen. Nice, man. That was step one, so that was nice because we're going to clip that out for you.
Nice.
Number two, there is no purpose in having conversation unless you get things out of it. Out of this conversation we had today, we talked for just about an hour today. What did you get from this conversation today, and you're going to move forward with?
So what I got from this conversation was to talk with someone who, like me, is becoming a leader in the conservative movement like yourself after not that much time, like yourself, already a chairman of a GOP organization after not even a year's involvement in politics, right? So we have that similarity where, people might underestimate us. They might not expect us to be where we're at, but then we have these God-given opportunities given to us. And this is my message to all of you. Be like Mr. Souri and I. Take these God-given opportunities that our gracious Lord gives us, not only to live life, breathe each and every day in our holy American Republic, but do so with purpose and intent in order to make sure that we have a brighter future for future generations to come. Because it's not only incumbent on the older generations to do that, but to make sure that all of us do that, because if we make it a collective effort from those people just coming into their golden age in their teens and 20s, like myself, but those that are older, like my parents or grandparents' age, if we can all work together to do that, then we can truly win. Because if God's on our side, then we have that much chance of victory. Because if Michael the Archangel defeated the devil, then imagine how many foes that we can defeat in front of us. Think about that. Make sure to put your voice into action, and let's make sure that we win.
Just to throw a legal disclaimer out there, Mr. Angerer said, be like Mr. Souri. Be very careful with that. Okay?
Yes.
I come with a warning, okay? Not responsible for, like when you watch wrestling, don't try this at home.
Yes.
Let's talk before you do anything like me.
Right. Mr. Souri's energy is very unique, definitely.
Appreciate that.
Always be tactful and strategic in what you do, of course, everybody. But make
Remember,
sure that
I'm the good kind of Arab. I'm not a bomb. I'm a sniper rifle.
Right. Exactly. But no, with your values and mindset and what you want to see done in life, everybody, make sure that if you want to stop whining, then you start doing.
Amen.
If you're tired of seeing something be a problem, be a part of the solution. Join the young Republicans if you're a young conservative in Illinois, and let's see this movement grow to every county in the state, not just the 20 counties or so that's currently at, which is double the amount of chapters that we have since March. Actually, we've doubled the amount of chapters.
Nice. So
that's part of that energy, everybody.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for tuning in. This is officially another episode of a show we haven't even named yet, but we'll just do a Republican recap on it. Guys, seriously, Eric, thank you so much for being here. Best of luck to you and everything that we're doing. We have a hell of a primary season coming up. You know, we know we're both actually running with separate camps on that one, but for all one intensive goal, and that's to get rid of, you know, Governor Quimby. I'm sorry, Pritzker. Either way, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Eric, thank you for being with us. And guys, we'll see you next time. And until then, remember, God bless America. God bless the land of Lincoln. And listen, God bless each other. See you guys next time.
Take care, everybody.